Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Okay, so the topic for tonight is working? Okay, perfect, mashallah. The topic, as you guys can see for tonight, I'm with my best friend, mashallah. It's my guy, alhamdulillah. Is Allah loves the people of sincerity. So I guess we're just going to reflect on some topics of sincerity, inshallah. And then we can also just answer some questions and have a conversation about it. I was saying to him, Mufti, I was sharing with you right before, just right now, that I remember a statement of Abu Hassan Ali Nadwi, who's a kind of a contemporary scholar. He passed away in the 90s, right? 90s, right? Well-known Indo-Pak scholar, but accepted across the whole world. Anyways, he used to say that the problem with our time is not that people make no intention, not that people make bad intentions, but rather that they have no intention in the actions that they do. And so I don't know, I've been thinking about this topic a lot, intention and niyyah. And what is niyyah? I guess we should start with that, right? Because all of us know this concept of innamal a'malu, all actions are based on intention, but what is niyyah? What does it mean to have an intention? Is it verbal? What is it, right? So you want to share some thoughts on what niyyah is to you, inshallah?
Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. Oh my God.
Yeah, here.
I know I don't sound that good.
Just leave it right here. We'll leave it right there. Perfect.
So, I think for beginners, it's very easy to make intention for certain miscellaneous things in life that perhaps they count, but they're not the crux of what we're doing in our life. Like, so for example, it's very easy to be nice to someone that you see once, like every 6 months or a year. But the Prophet ﷺ said that the best of you are the ones who are best to the people living in their home, because now that actually counts. A lot of times we will have displaced intentions. Like we'll make an intention for something which is a miscellaneous matter, it's a complementary matter, it's a supplementary matter. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He begins the discussion of intention in the Quran, He starts off with the macro to the micro. Right? He says, وَمَنْ أَرَادَ الْآخِرَةَ وَمَنْ أَرَادَ الْآخِرَةَ. The first thing that a person has to make an intention about, and this is where niyyah begins from, is the purpose of their life. You know, what is their intent of life?
Yeah, I love that.
And this is where a person's intention now has a trickle-down effect from. If a person's arada, their purpose of life is akhirah. Now, every step they're taking is with that in mind. Right? Great scholar by the name of Shaykh Yusuf Kandawli, rahimahullah, also a recent contemporary scholar. He was asked, who is a scholar? Like, how do you define an alim? Who is an alim? It's great shaykh. He said, an alim is a person, a shaykh is a person that has the answer of what Allah wants from them at that very moment in their life. In every situation in their life, in every state in their life, either it be pain or a moment of happiness, a moment of departure and separation, or a moment of reuniting. That in every state of their life, they know what Allah wants from them. What would make Allah happy at this moment? And it's not knowledge that teaches us that, it's love that teaches us that. وَمَنْ أَرَادَ الْآخِرَةَ. A person creates a purpose of their life. This is what the Sahaba did. The Sahaba were not so hyper-focused on the intention of giving a small amount of charity. They were more so focused on the intention of waking up in the morning. This is where it starts from. So first, your life. When they became Muslims, when you say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, my intention of life is to now honor the commandments of Allah and to honor the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. This is why when Umar radiyallahu anhu was told when he entered into Baytul Maqdis that I think it would be better if you kind of just, dress a little better. As Shaykh Mikaeel loves to say, add some drip.
I say it, right? You say it too all the time.
Right? So, you got to look a little better, you got to look the part. And he looked at Abu Ubaidah ibn Jarrah and said, hey brother, كُنَّا أَذَلَّ النَّاسِ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ عَزَّنَا بِالْإِسْلَامِ. We were the lowest of people, Allah gave us Islam, which then honored us. So this became our intent. This became our purpose of life. This is the blessing that allows us to not just persevere, but to thrive in life.
Yeah, I love that.
I don't know, Shaykh, you can comment on this and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember people using despite alongside blessings. Right? When was the last time we heard someone? When was the last time we heard someone saying, I made it in life despite having parents?
Okay.
I made it in life, man, despite having parents. Like, brother, what do you mean? That's indicative of you making it.
Yeah.
I made it in life despite being raised in a wealthy family. Like, well, that doesn't sound normal. It sounds like Trump, right? Like, just small loan, $1 million. Like, what do you do? It doesn't make sense. Similarly, because despite is used alongside burdens. It makes more sense when someone says, I made it in life despite being raised an orphan. I made it in life despite not having a support system around me. I made it in life despite having to go through FAFSA and scholarships and working at nighttime to pay for my tuition in the day. Then you're like, yeah, that makes sense. We never use despite for blessings. So how is it so that we say so casually, I made it in life despite being Muslim?
Oh, wow.
What do you mean? How did that become a common slogan and a statement? It behooves me. It's a blessing. I made it in life despite the way I dress. I made it in life despite my name being Fatima or Ali. No. We made it in life because of it. That's arad al-akhirah. That's our purpose of life. So when this becomes our purpose of life, it'll never be referred to as a despite. It'll always be referred to as, this is what got me here. When Yusuf a.s. was asked, tell us what this dream means. He said, hey brothers, first of all, I got to let you know, this is not from me. ذَلِكُمَا مِمَّا عَلَّمَنِي رَبِّي. When your purpose is something like this, you always take opportunities to call towards Allah. So I believe the first thing is to make sure, when we talk about niyyah, is we don't find like too many conversations of the Sahaba speaking about their intention of giving charity. We really don't. That's where we speak about it the most. But it's that one level lower. We don't find too many discussions about the Sahabas making niyyah for going in the path of Allah. We find discussions about the Sahabas' niyyah waking up in the morning. That the Prophet says, "Man asbaha minkum, wa dunya akbaru hammihi." Talk about waking up in the morning with the right purpose, right? So he says in a hadith that whosoever wakes up in the morning and matters of this dunya completely engulf their mind, like they just are immersed by it. So what that means is the first thing that we do when we wake up is something of dunya. That's why we're taught to wake up, read our dua, make wudu, pray 2 raka'ah. But some of us may wake up, and all of us, not some of us, all of us will wake up, first thing we do is check our phone to see how our stocks are doing, right? Or to check the scores. I mean, the Houston Rockets are just that. Nothing to check there, brothers, right? Nothing to check, right? Jalen Green is average. He's not Cade Cunningham, right? But nonetheless, أصبح منكم, a person wakes up and the first thing is something of dunya. Like Shaykh Abdullah, he would say, I can tell how the stock market is doing based on my musallis at Fajr. Because you can just tell the way they're looking, my older brother. So what happens when a person's intention becomes this? The Prophet of Allah says, Allah challenges this person in 3 ways. Number 1, the first challenge is شَتَّتَ عَلَيْهِ شَمْلُ وَجَعَلَ الْفَقْرَ بَيْنَ عَيْنَيْهِ.
Oh my God.
Right? So the first, I'll go from the first. جَعَلَ الْفَقْرَ بَيْنَ عَيْنَيْهِ, when a person has a wrong intention or their purpose became dunya. So it starts from the macro. Like, why am I having children for?
Yeah, that's
وَجَعَلْهُ رَبِّي رَضِيًّا. So that this child, Zakaria is saying to Allah, that this child, my son Yahya, can be a source of earning your pleasure. We're not talking about whether or not I should put my kid in middle school, high school, elementary, and where the... No. Why am I even having kids? Why am I moving to this country? Why are we living here? جِئْتُكُمْ بِكَرَامَةِ الدُّنْيَا وَخَيْرِ الْآخِرَةِ أَسْلِمْ تَسْلِمْ. This is what niyyah means. So he says, number 1, جَعَلَ الْفَقْرَ بَيْنَ عَيْنَيْ. Allah, when this person lived with the intention of dunya and not akhirah, Allah brings poverty in front of their eyes. What that means, and again, I'm not taking too much time from Shaykh Mikaeel,
No.
but what this means is that this person cannot see goodness even when it's inside of their own home. إِذَا أَخْرَجَ يَدَهُ لَمْ يَكَدْ يَرَهَا. That they take their hands out, meaning the goodness is inside of their house. It's in their hand, like it's right there, but they can't notice it because now they're focused on something else. This is what happens when a person's macro intention is dunya. Number 2, that وَشَتَّتَ عَلَيْهِ شَمْلُ, which is so powerful. Allah completely separates this person's affairs of life. Where now, a person had to make this much effort to get this much. We call that efficiency. We call it barakah. We call it barakah. Someone asked me the other day, does Islam encourage a growth mindset? So I just reflected upon it, researched it. Islam encourages a growth mindset through the veneer of barakah.
Interesting.
It's through barakah. That pretty much you give charity, Allah increases your wealth. You spend time for Allah's deen, Allah increases your barakah in your time. It's all through barakah. Of course, it's growth mindset, but through this system, not a system of just hustle, a system of being productive through the lens of having my intention for Allah in the Shattat means like, I'll give you an example, like we have a cat. So if I was to take cat food in the room of the cat and put it in every corner, like the garage for example, the same amount of food, it would take this cat much more effort to eat all of that food. By the time she finishes, because it took so much effort, she's hungry again. Rather than just putting it in one bowl and allowing the cat to eat from one place. So they can actually be satiated and full for a moment. What happens to us when our intention of life just becomes dunya? Allah makes us do this runaround. Not every movement is synonymous to progress. Not every movement is progress. Sometimes movement is exhaustion. Like how the people of Bani Israel, yatihuna fil ard for 40 years, they just kept moving.
It's crazy.
This idea of just moving. I need to move. No, I don't. I need actually not to move for a moment. Let me just do tahajjud. No movement in that situation is progress. So the second thing is like Allah this separates all of our affairs, and the opposite is Allah consolidates our affairs. And the last but not the least, وَمَا رُزِقَ إِلَّا مَا قَدْ كُتِبَ لَهُ. Despite this person's efforts, their strategy, their planning, because the intention of life is wrong, of why I'm living here, why I have children, why I'm doing what I'm doing, not why am I giving $100 to Hamd. That's an easy intention. What's a harder intention is, why am I living in Houston? What's my purpose of being here? This is what we need to start speaking about.
That's a real hard one.
It's a hard one. That's where this discussion
Not
begins.
how you living in Houston. Why are you living in Houston?
Why are you living in Houston? There's no reason, right? No, it's hamd now, mashallah. So this is what niyyah means for us. Niyyah begins from the macro. And then a person doesn't have to think too much about why am I praying salat? Or why am I going to school? Because this is a part, we should verbalize it because it reaffirms it, it resolidifies it, it cements it. But it's simply reaffirming what we already know. Like, this is why we're doing it. The purpose is to get to akhirah. When a kid starts playing basketball at a small age, at a tender age, their purpose is not simply to play at varsity level, to play at middle school level. Their goal is to play at the pros. This is why when they get drafted, it's the happiest day of their life. That's the day we're looking for. We're looking for the day where Allah says to us, وَأَنَا اخْتَرْتُكَ. You've been drafted by me.
Allah.
You've made such an effort your whole life, you've been drafted. You've made it. Because this was your purpose of life since you were a child. Since you understood who I was, and whatever age we're at this time, doesn't matter when we start, it matters how we end. The beginning doesn't get seen, the ending is what is the focus of Allah in our religion. So intention is built around primarily purpose of our life. And then how we spend our days, how we wake up in the morning. And everything stems from that. So that's what I think about when it comes to intention. But Shaykh, go ahead, please add.
Bismillah. I mean, I just want to build off what you were saying. I think what you talked about, that macro and micro, to me is important. I actually want to back up because no, just right there, that's perfect. That macro and micro, I think a lot of us, we've been told all the micro goals in life. Like, we know the hoops that the world wants us to jump through, right? We know we've gone through them, where we're at in life. And maybe some of us have jumped through all of them by now, right? You're working on your third PhD or something. I don't know, right? Right? Yeah. You've jumped through all of the things you're supposed to jump through. But then there's this emptiness at the end of each one, right? And so for me, when I graduated high school, long time ago, I came out of it.
You're not that old.
Yo. You'd be surprised, bro. Black don't crack, bro. You don't even know. You don't even know, bro. You don't even know. All right, yo, listen. So I graduated high school, and I'm like, now what? Now, that's not now what because I don't know what they told me I'm supposed to do next. It's now what because in between each of these next micro goals, there's a moment of reflection of where is my actual journey to. Like, where's the ultimate journey to? فَأَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ. The Quran asks you, like, where are you going? Literally, the Quran asks you a question. One thing I want to reflect, I love the Quran because it actually asks you questions. And one of the things of CBT therapy is to reframe things through asking questions. And I think the Quran is so powerful in how it asks you questions, but you have to respond to the question, right? Anyways, so فَأَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ. I graduate high school, and I know what they told me I'm supposed to go to next. But my mind, I don't know why, but my mind kept going to like, but then what? But then what? And then what? And everyone around you is like, yo, what are you doing? You're weird. You know what I mean? And and that's what made me stop and pause and look for that ultimate why, like that ultimate why. And I think that's what a lot of us don't realize we have. Maybe so there we could talk about this, because I think it's such a blessing that you just automatically know since you were like 4, like we're living for the sake of God, as growing up as Muslims. But for me, I had to discover that ultimate purpose. Right? There was no ultimate overarching macro goal. There were nothing but micro goals. And here's the problem. If you only live with micro goals, then each time you get to it, it's not as satiating as you think it's going to be. I'll give you an example. It's kind of trippy though. I remember the day I became Hafid of Quran. And I remember finishing it. It was great, but
What's next?
yeah, there was still a moment of like, all right, what's next? You expect the angel to like lift you up and like, you know what I mean? Like, and you're done and you're just done. And it's just like, I'm like, now what? Now what? So to me, I think a lot of us, now here's where I think your hadith plays in, is because man arada akhirah, you talked about that concept of who wants the akhirah, but you talked about this hadith, man asbaha wa, what is it? Yeah, the one who wakes up, and the dunya is their biggest thought. So that means dunya means this world, anything related to this world. Now, the effect of that, I think, is psychological. Number one, you said, shattata shamlahu, aw kama qala. All your affairs are scattered. To me, I've had those days where I don't know if I'm coming or going. Like, I don't know what's going on. I did everything I'm supposed to do today. I went to every class. I went to work. But I'm like, where am I going? What's going on with my life? Right? Because I don't have the macro goal in my head. You know what I'm trying to say? So I just think it's such a great blessing to be blessed with this deen that says, hey, pause, focus on your macro so that your micros are more meaningful. Know what your macro is so that when you graduate, whatever, when you have marriage, when you get a kid finally, whatever, when you get to that macro, see, you know what it is? I think people think that these major micros are going to be a macro, but they're not. So you ask somebody, you're like, what's your life about? They're like, oh, my children. And in the back of your head, you're like, I'm talking when you're older, right? You're like, but they're going to move out one day and you're going to be empty nesting now. Then what? Then someone's like, what's your life about now? Oh, I got to get my degree. I mean, we're older now, so it's like, yeah, I've been there, done that. But you remember the anxiety of graduating? The anxiety of graduating is deep because you have to face a macro thought, and you never had to do that. All you had was exams. Exam paper, exam paper, exam paper, exam paper, exam paper, exam paper. And then all of a sudden, it was like, you're about to graduate. You're like, no, I ain't. I'm going back to school. Because I only live for macro goals. I only can live for macro goals. Because it's too scary to think micro. I'm sorry, the other way. You get what I'm trying to say. So we actually, a lot of people, I wasn't joking about the second PhD. A lot of people are career students because they can't, that they need another. Now hold on though, let's balance it though. It's okay to have a lot of micros when you know where you're going. You feel me?
Helps you stay motivated.
Yeah, like I know my life is about Allah and the deen and whatever, like, and I mean that. We got to talk more about that because I think we need to be more specific on that. I think we haven't got that specificity on what my intention is, the macro goal. I think you touched upon it. It's to live my life for the sake of God. My point is to please God.
What does that mean though?
My life is for God. Like that's all it comes down to. I mean, I don't know how else to say that. That means my children, my wifey. I mean, Valentine's Day with my wifey is a micro, but it fits into the macro though. No, for real, for real. Yeah. You feel me, right?
I'm smiling at Valentine's Day.
Oh, okay. I low-key didn't do nothing though, yo. I suck, yo. You know why though? Because yesterday was Karima, my middle daughter's birthday. So she's 11. And it was a big deal. So we were like, we're just tired from like, you know, whatever. Anyways, who cares? I don't know. When you get the corner office, it feels good only when it was you keep it at where it's supposed to be. I guess that's what I'm trying to articulate. So that was one thing I was thinking about. Oh, the other thing I was thinking about is what happens if you live, okay, let's play it out. What happens if you live life with no macro and only live in the micros? It's called midlife crisis. Go bungee jumping. Buy a Corvette when you're 45. No, I'm serious. Like, you have to do crazy stuff, because what am I doing? People get to this point of life where they jump through every loop that life said they were supposed to do, but they feel empty. But here we are at the age of 16, 17 saying, intention for Allah, intention for Allah. And you're like, yeah. That's literally protecting your mental wellness later down the line when you get to the end there. I don't know. Those are just some thoughts I was having. And then the last thing, so there's this narration. You've heard this before, and maybe we can reflect on it. So it's not a hadith or anything. It's just a saying from scholars. It says, فَالنَّاسُ كُلُّهُمْ هَلْكَ. It's a bit morbid, but you gotta like feel it, and then you'll realize how, I think some of the most morbid things actually are invigorating, actually, if you actually like understand them. So it says, النَّاسُ كُلُّهُمْ هَلْكَ.
Okay.
All people are destroyed. All right, it's gonna get better. Hold on. إِلَّا الْعَالِمُونَ. Right? Alimun, right? Except people who have knowledge. وَالْعَالِمُونَ كُلُّهُمْ هَلْكَ إِلَّا الْعَامِلُونَ. And all the people of knowledge are destroyed. Except those who act upon what they know. وَالْعَامِلُونَ كُلُّهُمْ هَلْكَ. And everyone acting, grinding, working, providing for family, grinding, halka, all of them are destroyed too. إِلَّا الْمُخْلِصُونَ. Except the people who have sincerity. وَالْمُخْلِصُونَ عَلَى خَطَرٍ عَظِيمٍ. So, to me, what that tells me is, if I start off with the end, if I know why I'm living and what my life is about, and I'm sorry, man, this to me is like the biggest question, because people are living life, but they don't answer the most fundamental question. And once you answer that question, then live life and do whatever you got to do. But if you don't answer that question, you're going to get to the end of life and be like, what was I doing? So I think a lot of us in the room, all of us in the room, are blessed because we've at some level heard a khutbah somewhere and we thought about this. But I think the more you make this actual like mantra, like everyday affirmations, and there's so many of them, then the day just goes so much smoother. So what, Becky in HR is tripping? I don't care about you. No, I'm for real. Like, you're not big in my list of priorities today. You're part of the plan, but you're not really like that important. All right, I lost my job. Yo, it was good, but it wasn't my goal in life. You know what I'm trying to say? So, I don't know. Those are just some thoughts I was thinking about. And those are just like, why do we need intention? And why is there so much focus on intention in our deen? And that's just some thoughts I had in my mind about it. You know what I mean?
I think, Shaykh, you touched on the daily affirmations, which are really powerful. People ask, how do I know I'm living life for Allah? Like, one of the most powerful daily adhkar or affirmations is what the Prophet taught us, that every single morning we've been instructed to read something so simple, yet it is so profound and meaningful, which is simply, and they do this in different practices as well. Yeah. And this person, like, I am special. Like, people do that stuff, right?
No, but that's not. It's not a small deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
It's a big deal. Like, affirmations are powerful, y'all. Before he shares this, like these guru business people have all types of affirmations. No, for real.
Yeah, they do.
Because, I don't know how to explain it. It's just so important.
It's powerful.
It's powerful. It's a reminder of your core. You want to share something?
Yeah, usually the first 10 minutes of your day, the positive affirmations you tell, it's exactly how your day goes.
That's what I'm saying. I said this the other day. I'm going to share this. I said this the other day. I didn't make it up. I heard it somewhere, and we all have the same feeds. We're living the same lives, so you probably heard it. I heard this saying, which was, don't be a thermostat. Don't be a thermometer. Be a thermostat. Meaning, don't be one who just reflects what the energy of the day is. Set the temperature of the day. Set the temperature of the day. Today is today of gratitude, right? And so I love what you're saying. These affirmations are big. And so I'm going to pass it back to you, Shaykh. But like, I just wanted to hype up this concept of affirmations. We have literally whole 15-minute worth of affirmations. I was actually doing it on Instagram. I haven't done it in about a week, but in my Instagram, if you go back, they're there. Every morning at Qalam, we would do these affirmations because they are what set you right spiritually. People in business are doing these. People in other spirituality are doing it. Why aren't we tapping into affirmations? Right? And so these affirmations, before you share one, I just wanted to highlight, like, don't sleep. And by the way, if you just want to be more like, they're called adhkar, right? Like,
It's not that deep.
like they're called adhkar, right? Call it what you want. The reality is, you're like, man, why don't I have that? And the first thing I ask, all right, do you take your daily supplements? Are you taking your vitamins? And someone's like, what supplements? What vitamins? I'm like, raditu billahi rabba, hasbi Allahu la ilaha. Like, I don't know which one you're going to share, but
powerful.
those are supplements, right? If you're not taking those supplements, then of course you're going to be deficient somewhere. And then you're like, where am I going to get this from? And I'm like, yo, you didn't take your vitamins today, right? So share one. You were going to share one.
I'll just share the one that you just mentioned.
Which one were you going to do?
Daily affirmations are powerful, right? So like the one the Shaykh mentioned was one I was going to share.
Which one?
Is raditu billahi rabba.
Okay.
Like, imagine every single morning waking up knowing that there are things in your day that are not going, that will not go according to your plan. And that's okay because we're not that important. It will go according to the one's plan that matters, Allah's plan, right? Ali radiallahu anhu says in a beautiful statement that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me the opportunity to write my entire qadr, in the tafsir of Surah Yusuf he mentions, if Allah gave me the opportunity to write my entire decree, that I want, this is how I would draw out my life, right? And then he said to me that you can choose that, or you can choose the option of what I have written for you, but you haven't seen it yet. He says there will not be a single person, مَا مِنَّا أَحَدٌ إِلَّا اخْتَارَ. There will not be a single person amongst us except that they would choose what Allah has written for them. That's just the concept of رَضِيتُ بِاللَّهِ رَبًّا. Like, I am pleased. رَضِيتُ doesn't mean I'm happy.
Yeah.
The pursuit of happiness is truly a fallacy. It's a pursuit of contentment.
Yeah.
The pursuit of happiness is not encouraged, neither is it a destination of dunya. It's a destination of akhirah. This is why Allah uses farh for believers in akhirah, not in dunya.
Oh man.
قُلْ بِفَضْلِ اللَّهِ وَبِرَحْمَتِهِ فَبِذَلِكَ
يَفْرَحُوا.
فَلْيَفْرَحُوا شُهَدَاء فَرِحِينَ بِمَا آتَاهُمُ اللَّهِ. Allah uses farh, happiness, in dunya for munafiqeen. لا تفرح إن الله لا يحب الفرحين.
Yeah.
Which is really like, want to comment on this, Shaykh?
Yo, it's deep. You know, because some people were like, oh, like imagine someone just walked in and they're like, we don't pursue happiness. And everyone's like, dang, what's going on? Muslims, I told you. It's deep though, what you're saying. No, what he's saying is deep. Think of someone addicted to drugs. The pursuit of happiness. There was a pursuit of a lower level good. And often in order to get to higher level good, you see, we know this in business. I'm telling you, we know it in every other field. In order to get to a higher level good, you have to forgo a lower level good.
100%.
And the addict, for example, is addicted to a lower level good, and therefore they forgo a lot of higher level goods. And so I love what you're saying. It's like we're not pursuing happiness, we're pursuing contentment, right? And if you pursue that happiness in the context of what we understand happiness, you can end up in a bad place, right? Raditu billahi rabba.
To be fair, the man that lived the best life is our Habib sallallahu alaihi wasallam, our Prophet. And if someone was to just unwrap and unravel his life, it would be a very easy conclusion to draw that he did not live a life of happiness. You could not live happy if you buried 6 of your 7 children. That's just not possible. Like, I buried one of my brothers.
Allah.
It's not possible to live happy after you bury your loved one. Yaqub alayhi salam lived a life of tears for 40 years till he lost his eyesight. Right? So tell someone who is in Gaza that life's goal is to pursue happiness. What are you talking about, man?
Yeah.
That can't be the goal because I can't get there.
Yeah.
Allah will never make something the goal that half the community is paralyzed to reach. The goal is the pursuit of contentment. And contentment has less to do with your space, has more to do with your state. It doesn't have to do with the space. The Prophet of Allah had people praying next to him in the masjid that were called munafiqs. Being there doesn't mean much. Feeling it means. The Prophet says that there are 7 people that will be under the shade of Allah's arsh. And one of them, this is profound, one of them is رَجْلٌ قَلْبُهُ مُعَلَّقٌ بِالْمَسَاجِدِ. A person whose heart is attached to the masjid.
Yeah.
And this is beautiful because sometimes I can't be in the masjid but my heart is there. And it's also scary because sometimes I may be there but my heart isn't there.
Allahu Akbar.
We don't pursue the space, we pursue the state. In the Western world, Allah will always teach us to pursue the space. For us, as in living in America, we believe that the space will compensate for the state. And we found that
Say that again.
we believe that the space that we will reach will compensate for the state of my heart in the deficiencies that I have.
So
for example, if I get there, even though I'm not really happy, I'll be okay.
Yeah, that's deep.
But when they get there, they realize, well, I'm missing something. Whereas you have people, Muslims believe that the space is complementary.
Yeah.
We don't mind it. I don't mind driving a nice car, having a nice,
deep,
beautiful.
bro.
We're good with it. But it's okay if I'm living in rubbles in Gaza because I can still say Alhamdulillah.
Yo, Shaykh, we got to add to this. This goes for anything though. Yeah. Like whatever you have right now, if you don't have the state, you'll never have it.
You'll never have it.
Because all of us think it's just one more thing, but you don't realize the moment you get there, you don't have the state. You know what I'm trying to say?
100%.
So you have to actually, whatever you have in this exact moment right now, develop that contentment. Now, I know the other part is, what about striving for
100%.
Excellence?
That's all part
striving
of it.
Cool, I got you. We're going to grind. But my contentment is not based on, would you say state versus? Space. Yeah. And when you said space, I'm thinking like, I'm single right now. Right? I'm not single, but I'm just saying, right? Someone's like, I'm single right now. Like the moment I get married, damn, like, that's it. Bro, you're going to get married. It's going to be nice. It's going to be lit. It's going to be whatever. But yo, this is dunya, bro. Yeah. This is dunya. At the end of the day, this is dunya. It won't give you what you think it's going to give you. By design. By design, too. You know, they say, could God have created a place? Couldn't he made it all good? Yeah, he did. He could have. That place is called Jannah. Could he made a place that's all evil? Yeah, he could have. It's called hell. Did he make a place that has both so he could test you? Yeah, it's called dunya. It's supposed to be like this. 100%. And you know what they say about dopamine? My wife was trolling me the other day. Because dopamine releases not when you get, but right before you get. The highest level of dopamine release. So dopamine is that hormone of like pleasure, right? Enjoyment. But the highest release of the dopamine is not when you get, right before it. That's why unbox therapy is so big. That's why when you just opening it, I was opening something I got. I won't tell you what I got, right? But I was opening something and my wife was like, enjoy right now.
The moment you open, you're like,
because the moment you open it, it's down from that point. Yeah. That's crazy, yo. That's crazy. You know how they say crazy now, right? Like, that's crazy. So if you really want high dopamine, just keep boxes half open or something. I don't know. But the moment you get it and start using it from that point on, it loses value. It loses the release. And that's why you just keep Amazon buying. Right? I don't know where I even came from with this thought, but that's the beautiful point, the state, I love what you said, the state versus the space. And I've never heard it put that way, and it's just a brilliant, subhanAllah, layout of it.
No. But like Muslims,
we were doing this affirmation. Maybe we don't want to forget
Muslims pursue the state, and then the space comes next, right? So that's what raditu means. That's where it came from. The word is rida. It's not farahtu billahi rabba. It's raditu. Ridwan. I'm pleased with, like the daughter and the son don't need to be happy with their parents, but they're content that they have parents. Because there's many people who don't have parents. Like, I'm just content. That's enough for me. Like, when I know that's enough for me, then I know that I've made it. And I'm not pursuing anything else because there's nothing else to pursue. That's raditu billah. Every morning the Prophet taught the companions to say, I am pleased with Allah being my Lord, i.e., I am pleased with the one I am pleased knowing that He's the one that controls the strings of my life.
And His decree, yeah.
And that's it. I'm okay with it. وَبِالْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا. And I'm pleased with knowing that my lifestyle, though it may be different than other people, it's all good. Because I'm happy with it.
You know what I like about this? Some days I said, no, okay, imagine you wake up and you're like, raditu billahi rabba. And today was a day I lost my job yesterday. Just imagine you say those words. Now, one thing about affirmations is it's to put you in the state. You don't have to be in the state to say the affirmation.
Most people won't be saying it if you are.
Raditu bil Islami dina, right? Sometimes I don't understand rulings in Islam. I don't understand why it's 4 rakat and not 7. I don't know why. God said so. That's it. Like everyone tries to find hikmas. There's no, the hikmah is God said so. Waking up early at Fajr, the only reason I'm waking up is God said so. Don't give me no other whack reason because you ain't going to wake up. No, for real. There's only one reason you're literally waking up in the morning because God said so. That's it.
That's true. Everything
right?
else is.
But I don't understand everything, nor am I acting on everything.
It's okay.
But I'm gonna wake up and go, I'm pleased with this deen.
Allahu Akbar.
Someone look at you like, yo, you ain't even doing this. But you're like, so what? I'm still pleased with the deen. I'm still pleased with the deen. It doesn't matter where I'm at on the trajectory, I'm pleased with it. That's what I love about it. It's not where I am, it's where I wanna be.
Where I wanna be.
Right? And then the last one, what are the two?
And yeah, so bil Islami Dina, and the third one, the last one. And this is something that every morning, it takes literally 10 seconds.
I know, it's
10
crazy.
seconds. Wa bi Muhammadin sallallahu alaihi wasallam nabiyyan. And I'm pleased with my role model being the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Everyone is looking for someone.
Yep.
At every point of our life, when we make it to the C-suite, we're looking to figure out how to make it to the highest point of the C-suite.
Yep.
Everyone is looking above at someone.
You know the proof to that? YouTube.
YouTube.
YouTube. Everyone's trying to find how to figure out to do stuff. Just look at YouTube.
Everyone's like, how can I get to the next? You know, it's very interesting. There's so many videos about how to be leaders, right? Like the best videos on YouTube.
And the dude's just making money off of y'all.
The 5 greatest qualities of a leader.
Yeah.
And then 3 best characteristics, Habibi.
Or just how I live my day.
How are them? No
I'm like,
cares.
but then you look at how many views. Look at the views.
I guess people do care.
No, that's the crazy part. When we say we have a model to emulate, right? It almost feels astaghfirullah in our mind, childish, like no, I am independent, I do my own thing. Then you go on YouTube and you look at content creators, they're just telling people how they live their day.
People are watching.
And everyone's watching. And we're like, wait, I can show you a sunnah, a way that's already approved for the last 1400 years of the Habib of Allah. Just follow his way.
That's so powerful, man.
And it's nature to imitate, right? It's nature to imitate. And I just think it's important to be real with where humanity is right now. When we say, hey, Raditu bi Muhammad, I'm pleased with Muhammad. Now, again, does it mean I'm doing everything proper?
It doesn't even mean that I understand everything. It's okay, but I am pleased with him. Like, they say all this leader stuff. When was the first time? Have you ever seen a video that says the most important qualities of a follower? Anyone?
No.
Right? Well, what if I was to tell you the first condition of being a leader is to be a follower? The first condition of being a leader is to be a follower. Why have we created this utopia of leadership where there's actually truly a utopia in being a follower? قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِ.
Fattabi'uni, wow.
The Prophet ﷺ was told, even the Prophet of Allah was told, you want to be a leader? فَبِهُدَاهُ مُقْتَدِي. Be a follower first. We can't even enter the realm of leadership until we know how to be a follower of someone else.
It's deep.
You have to be a follower. All of this was from the daily affirmations, right? Now imagine I'm reading this every day and I think of these things. رَضِيتُ بِاللَّهِ رَبَّا وَبِالْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا وَبِمُحَمَّدٍ نَبِيًّا صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم. Another thing, Shaykh Mikaeel, that you mentioned is, you know, the idea of like, what does this purpose look like? Like, what is this intention actually? What does it morph into? I'm going to mention one thing, I'll give it back to Shaykh, and I mean, that's where I'll probably end.
Yeah.
I think the biggest challenge becomes in life that we lose purpose fairly quick because we don't necessarily reaffirm it as much as we need to reaffirm it. No one forgets the purpose of their children because they remind themselves every day. This is why I have children. The husband reminds the wife and the wife reminds the husband. We don't forget the purpose of having a car because we're told every day how to use the car. How often do we remind ourselves how to live as a slave of Allah? Now, here it is, everyone. If we forget about Allah, if the biggest cause of losing intention and purpose is this, and this is not me, these are the words of Allah. If we forget about Allah and His rights upon me, meaning that's not our intention anymore, guess what happens? وَلَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّذِينَ نَسُوا اللَّهَ فَأَنْسَاهُمْ أَنفُسَهُمْ.
You lose yourself.
You lose yourself. Now you're trying to find, like, where do I get purpose? Where do I find benefit? Maybe I need to do this. Maybe I need... No. It comes back down to the beginning. I think I have lost sight of Allah in my life. This is why the hadith of Ihsan says, أَن تَعْبُدَ اللَّهَ كَأَنَّكَ تَرَاهُ. You worship Allah as if you can see Him. Because the idea of that is seeing Him doesn't necessarily mean you see Allah. Ibn Hajar rahimahullah says you see Allah in those mountains. Like a beloved sees his spouse or her spouse in every movement of their day.
Allah.
They see their, like Shaykh is talking about his spouse, mashallah.
Nah, that's you. Yo, yeah, don't put it on me. It's you, bro.
That's what happens.
You missing wifey right now. That's all.
You know, when a person gets married, you're like, so how was your day? Like, yeah, alhamdulillah, my wife. Like, no one cares. Just chill. But this is what happens. They're so in love. So, أَن تَعْبُدَ اللَّهَ كَأَنَّكَ تَرَاهُ. We always say, oh, there's no way we can see Allah. That's not what the hadith, yes, that's an interpretation. But what it also means is we see Allah in our movements. So when a person is reminded about Allah, and now look, is it possible to remember someone without speaking about them? Absolutely not. This is why the more we speak about something, the more we remember them. And the more that affirmation comes. This is why we have dhikr. This is why dhikr is what brings all of this together. We remember Allah, we remember there's a purpose. That purpose now gets cleared up, and there's clarity in life. There's clarity in purpose because now there's dhikr. I know we think about these things, and I feel so, like I feel embarrassed even saying this because I think all of us experience it, that we think about things like dhikr or these different models to be sometimes even outdated, for better or worse. Now what can it really do for me? Look, it won't do anything for you if that's a mindset. And it will do everything for you if the mindset is that this is what it will do for me. أُدْعُ اللَّهُ وَأَنْتُمْ مُوقِنُونَ بِالْإِجَابَةِ. There's complete reliance upon that dhikr. I'm speaking about Allah dhikr, and also I'm giving da'wah to people. You know someone loves something when they're always talking about it. Like Shaykh Mikaeel loves Dallas. Because he's always talking about Dallas.
It's good, it's nice,
right, exactly.
It's nice.
So similarly, like someone that loves something, they don't need an excuse to speak about it.
Yeah.
And I ask myself this question all the time. Our teachers would tell us, your day isn't complete until you've spoken about the greatness of Allah to someone else. Speak about Allah. Why is it so weird to speak about Allah?
This is deep. This is a deep point.
It's not a weird thing to say, Allah gave me life. That's an affirmation. That is, people sit down, speak about garbage. Like literally, you ask us to speak about sports, I can sit with you for 3 hours. If I was to ask one another, like, hey, let's talk about Allah for 2 minutes. Like, yeah, Allah is Allah, bro. What do you mean? No, I mean, what does that mean to you though? Like, what does Raditu Billahi Rabban mean to me if I can't speak about Him? It's not that I don't know Him, it's that I just haven't done enough to build a relationship with Him. And that has nothing to do with knowledge at the primary level. It has to do with love and reliance. And that's where a person, the biggest punishment in life is that Allah makes us forget ourselves. Because a person who doesn't know who they are cannot teach someone else what they want and who they want to become. If a father doesn't know who he is, how is he expected to lead his son or daughter in life? I don't even know who I am. And this is an effect of not remembering Allah in our life. So when we talk about, this is what it looks like to have Allah's intention. That when I'm raising my son or my daughter, and they're making a mistake, they're doing something negative towards the Quran. My intention is, I love my kid. I gotta tell him, hey man, that's not acceptable. Because this is something which is disrespectful to the Quran. This is what it means to live with the purpose of Allah in our mind. The Prophet ﷺ, as kind and as loving as he was, he was stern when it came to certain responsibilities and principles of deen. Because I live for Allah, so that's primary for me. Everything else fits in that. And wallahi, this is a packaging which is the most inclusive. Everything can be included in it, if that makes sense. And I think if that's what we can take from this, I do believe that intention then now enters into this. And also it's important to realize intention in worship is actually easier to clear than intention in your social interactions. We might not have time to speak about it today, but I want you to just think about it. Having a pure intention in your ibadah is actually very easy, because you know why you're doing it. But having a pure intention when you meet people is actually a little bit more difficult. Why you say salam to people, why you meet them, why you invite them. When was the last time we cultivated a relationship where we are not a beneficiaries in it? Like, even we calculate our salams. It depends on how we say, depends on who the person is, this is how I meet them. The Prophet of Allah would turn his chest to anyone regardless of who they were.
SubhanAllah.
Right? Having pure intention in your tahajjud is not a great feat. Having pure intention in your interactions with people is what proves that you are sincere. This is why ad-din al-nasiha, that the whole religion is having pure intentions for one another and being pure in your intentions to serve one another. That there's no incentive for me, but it's perfectly fine, someone else benefits. Right? These are two things to reflect on. One is intention in your ibadah, the other is having good intention in your interactions with one another, which is more important than even your ibadah. Wallahu alam. Sheikh.
Yeah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Yeah. A few of the brothers, mashallah, they came a little late, mashallah, I know we're really busy. I just want to say I highly recommend, we had a great discussion, and I think there were some critical conversations we had earlier that, is this recorded? We're recording everything? Yeah. All right, perfect. Please tap in later and listen to the earlier conversations, because I think they really are paradigm shifting conversations we had in the first like 30 minutes of our conversation. I just want to add a few things to what you were saying. Number one, we were talking about niyyah, right? One of the things that I was struggling with for some time is distraction and focus. Distraction and focus. And when I realized I wasn't alone, I realized like everyone is going through the same thing. There's a book I highly recommend called Stolen Focus. I wrote about it in my second book, briefly about it. And he talks about distractions on different levels. And it connects to our conversation here. I know it's late, but so there's distractions that stop you from a task. There's distractions that affect where you're going. And then there's distractions that distract you from your ultimate goal. You know what I'm saying? So like one thing is like, I wake up in the morning, I'm about to read Quran. And instead of reading Quran, I open my phone, now I'm distracted. That stops from a task. Now those aren't too bad, but what happens is they compound. The next level of distraction is distraction of like a higher like goal. Like I don't even know what I want to be anymore. Like you switch your major like 3 times, 4 times. Like you're all over the place. You literally don't know what the heck you want to be. And the problem is because I think, this is my own thing, we're looking at so many other people and their goals that we don't know our goal. You know what I'm trying to say? Like every time, look, I'll give you an example. Today was an off day, I'm not hitting the gym. But I go on Instagram and I see people in the gym. All of a sudden, I think I'm gonna hit the gym up today. Well, hold on, that's not your day. That's somebody else's day. But the higher level, and this taps into niyyah, because we talked about micro goal and macro goal, the higher level is if you live enough days with no goal, you lose purpose. No focus in your purpose. And to me, that leads to a level of like nihilism, like life doesn't have meaning anymore. Like there's no point. There's no point. Yeah. So one of the affirmations that I love, the Prophet used to read every morning, do you think you've been created with no purpose? Like it's a rhetorical question the Quran is asking you in the morning, first thing you wake up. Like he used to read these verses.
Powerful.
God is like, do you think you were created with no purpose? And the answer in your mind is like, no, there's a purpose. All right, get to work. It's crazy. So first thing I want to say is I highly recommend Stolen Focus by Johan Hari or Hari Johan, one of those, whatever. It's a powerful concept. And a lot of us are really distracted and we're just like, we don't know what we're doing. And how are you going to, I don't want to live life like that. I can't live weeks like that, let alone years of distractedness. Like what the heck is going on in my life? So gain focus, man. Gain focus before it gets too serious. Technology is moving too fast now for you not to get a grip on yourself. Like the way AI is going to take over now, man, internet was however speed. AI is 10 times that speed. And if you don't got a grip on your own mind, somebody else got a grip on it. You know what I'm trying to say? They used to say if the app is free, it's because you're the product. Yeah. If the app is free, it's because you're the product, yo. You're the product. That's why the app is free. If you weren't the product, then you would have to pay for the app. But the app is free because you are the product. You're being sold. It's crazy, man. Okay, that's one thing I wanted to say. So I highly recommend some of the Shabab, man. We had a great conversation. Please tap into the first part of the conversation. The second thing I wanted to say was Ramadan. I think there's a Ramadan connection to this whole conversation. Ramadan is crazy because it's an automatic turn off autopilot month. And turning off autopilot is very nice because it makes you remember why of everything. So what do I mean? Most people have a routine. I get up in the morning, I make my coffee. It's a routine I do every single Monday through Friday. That's my routine. I don't even think about it. I literally get up, pull the shot, whatever, go, right? The problem is, if you live 40 years like that, before you know it, you haven't thought about why you're living. You haven't thought about why you're living. Ramadan comes every year, and now all of a sudden you reach for a cup of water, you're like, why am I doing this? Like the most mundane thing is to reach for a cup of water. But now you're questioning the most mundane aspect of life. Now, it allows me to reset life. Now, I'm going to bring the cup of water back after Ramadan. But maybe there's other things I'm not going to bring back because I reassessed why. Ramadan is the ultimate niyyah resetter, yo. It's crazy. Because now I'm thinking about the most mundane thing. Food, water. And there's higher level stuff too. Why am I spending 3 hours a night on Netflix? That's dumb. Like, all right, 20 minutes maybe, or like an hour a week. Like, but I'm just living on autopilot. And the next thing I'm saying is autopilot, you're going to wake up one day, 30, 40 years old, and you're going to be like, what's my life about? And you'll have money. Don't worry. You're going to have all that. Yo, don't worry. You still going to feel like nothing. Because what he said before some of y'all came in. He said, we think that the space is going to give us something, but it's the state inside the heart that gives it to you. So you'll get to the space, but the state is empty. I'm just repeating it because some people just walked in and it was heavy, right? He was basically saying, this is his words, that if you don't cultivate the state in the heart, you may get to the space, but the space will be empty. But if you cultivate the state, you could be in any space and you're good. So these are just some thoughts. Tonight was a beautiful night chilling with Hamd, mashallah. This is pillars, right? Pillars. Hamd pillars, whatever, mashallah. May Allah accept. Ramadan is coming. Let Ramadan reset. Accept the awkwardness of Ramadan. It's supposed to reset. Like, that's the purpose of it. It's supposed to be like, like that's the purpose of it. Because if you don't do that, you'll do it at 45 years old. And it's a lot worse having wasted 45 years old, 40 years. So you let it reset everything. Let it come, let it reset, let it be weird, let it do that. And then after Ramadan, you bring back what you want to bring back. You feel me? 100%. So, subhanAllah. We got questions?
2-3 questions for you.
All right, let's do a few.
Someone says, I feel empty because I don't know how to live my life for Allah while also being happy and content with what I have. There are days where I don't feel comfortable with myself and I feel guilty because I'm lacking in ibadah. What's the way to center myself with these thoughts?
Oh, there's so much that you need.
So number one, like, how do I create Allah's...
No, the first thing, there's a lot here. This person needs someone to talk to. Listen, this person needs someone to talk to more because there's a lot going on in this. Listen, brothers and sisters, I don't know if this is a male or female, but we need to become people that listen to each other better, right? We need to become people that can sit down and genuinely say, yo, how are you doing? Everyone's too busy, man. Stop being so busy. Hit your boy up like, yo, bro, what's going on? Listen to this statement. I'm new to, okay, I don't know if they wanted the whole statement, but it's, okay. They wrote it, so yeah. I'm new to Houston. Okay, that means you're relocating. Relocating is one of the most traumatic things you could do in life. Do you know that? Like statistically, that is literally one of the most psychologically traumatic things you could do to move to a new city. So right away, you need someone to kind of like bring you in. Okay, I feel empty. Yeah, because network, people, social, restart it. Of course. I don't know how to live my life for Allah. Just start with the basic. Dhikr, shukr, gratitude. Just choose gratitude. Start with gratitude. I'm grateful for whatever I have. Then the person says, and content with what I have. Well, I just said, just choose contentment. You have to choose. You can't wait for something to happen to you for you to be content. We already solved that earlier, like 20 minutes ago. If you're not content now, you'll never be. There's no thing you can get to give it to you. Do we all get that point? Y'all with me? Like if we can all leave here understanding there's no thing, I can't buy contentment or earn it or grind it. Yeah, because I'll just grind to get content. No, you won't. If you're not content now, you'll never be content. I'm sorry. The Lambo won't do it, bro. It won't. There are days where I don't feel comfortable with myself. Me too. Me too. But I just got to do what I got to do. I'm an adult. I got kids now, so I can't have an off day.
Yeah, but I think it's important to mention that we don't worship the vibe.
Thank you.
We worship the amal. Like we don't worship the vibe. The vibe can help. The vibe sometimes won't help. It's okay. We worship istiqamah by definition. Like just to point this out.
This is big.
Someone asked Imam Suyuti rahimahullah, who's a great scholar. He's a paragon for us. A polymath in his sciences. Someone asked him, hey, like what does it mean to have istiqamah? He says, لا يتغير الأعمال بتغير الأحوال. That a person's output of good does not change based upon the situations that they're in.
Like emotional state.
Emotional state.
Yeah.
I still gotta pray even though I don't feel like praying. That's the purpose of praying. And because it gets you, Shaykh Mikaeel said earlier, because it gets you back there. It helps you get back there. But we don't worship. Look, For those who's gone to Umrah before, like a lot of you brothers, I know a lot of, mashallah. Allah
If
take
you
us
haven't,
back.
you gotta go, yo.
Allah take us back again and again. For those
You
that
gotta
haven't,
go.
inshallah, make it part
Young
of your-
people gotta go for Umrah, yo. You gotta get out of this matrix here and go back. Because
Indeed.
that's real life, this is fake.
Indeed, Wallahi, you're right.
You gotta go once a year. It's like $2 grand, $3 grand. And then now you could go the same way you go to Miami. No, I'm serious.
It's a reset button.
You can go to Umrah now the way you go to Miami.
Book it yourself. Everything.
You book it yourself the same way. You get the visa on the ground. This is the matrix. That's the real deal. And you just got to tap in once a year. You got to tap in once a year.
And to Imam's point, like, we take our groups a few times a year. Like, Imam Mikaeel takes his group as well. Like, it's enjoyable to see people who are going for the first time. Why? Because you want to see their reaction to the Kaaba and to the green dome, right? But let me ask you a question. What if you've gone 10 times, 15 times, 20 times? Is it going to feel the same?
No.
It won't.
Oh.
But it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It is okay. When you have your first son or daughter, it feels different. When you have your fourth, it may not feel the same. It's all right. Hey, I'm a middle child.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it didn't feel the same as when they had the first one or the last one. Right? It's all good. But that's not the point. The point is now we've matured past that spiritually.
Yeah.
In the beginning, how you get someone to the door is through the vibe.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
the amal keeps them there. That's
Yeah.
why maybe I'm wrong. Imam, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm really, I speak about this more often. Look, it's important to have gatherings that are comfortable. So our space needs to be comfortable. But it's important to know that comfortable is not synonymous to complacency. We want to make sure that our gatherings are comfortable and what we're doing is comfortable, but it leads us and it pushes us towards Allah more. So when I leave pillars and hamd, I want to do more. Not that when I come into Miftah, everything was so comfortable, the amenities were there, the logistics were there, and I leave the same. Being comfortable was never a goal of deen. Actually, it was not a goal of deen at all. If it's there, it's there.
Yeah.
But being complacent is the opposite goal of deen. Like, we never want to be complacent.
Yeah.
We want to continue driving towards Allah. So, yes, we don't worship the vibe. Whoever's asking this question, it's all good. Yo, Shaykh, how often do you wake up in the morning, you don't want to teach that day?
Yeah, you can imagine people in high-ranking positions. They got to where you think, you made it when you get there. In any field, sports, CEO, this, that, multi-businesses, whatever. How many days they don't feel like it? And you're like, man, if I was there, I would feel like it every day. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. Because you're a human being. And so at the end of the day,
Worship the vibe, man.
I lay down on my bed and my son calls me, who's 8 years old, all the way upstairs. I don't feel like getting up. But I get up. Because it's not about doing what I feel like doing anymore. I mean, that's so 17-year-old-ish. That's what 16-year-olds say. I don't feel like it. Well, we got to man up. You got to man up, woman up. We kings and queens, man. We do what we got to do.
100%.
We do what we got to do. And so, yes, feelings help sometimes.
It helps.
It helps. And there's days when, in Ramadan, there's days it's going to feel great. And there's other days where you're literally dragging yourself through it. And guess what? You get more reward on the day you drag yourself through. And I love what you said. The first Umrah was amazing. I go every year now. And it's still amazing, but it's nowhere like the first one. But
it's all good.
I've learned through people like yourself and my teachers that we don't worship the feeling. So this person, let's just a little bit more. What's a way to center myself whenever these thoughts happen? You need this is what I was saying. We need, in the place of a good therapist is a good friend. A listening, muttaqi friend. They have to have taqwa, basic taqwa. Because if they don't have taqwa, then they're not going to give you the frame of mind of a God-centric, guidance. They have to have, and they don't got to be the auntie of
Taqwa people.
Yeah, just they care about Allah and the Rasul. Yeah. They care about Allah and the Rasul.
Part of their framework.
That's their framework, right? So when you're talking, if you call me, I have a friend. If I call and I'm in complain mode, then he's gonna listen but shift me. He's gonna listen but be like, yo, but you got a lot. You suffering in success, Habib. Y'all heard that saying before? Suffering in success. He's gonna shift me. He's gonna reframe, and that's what a good therapist is gonna do. Help you reframe. But a good friend should do that too. And so stick around after, meet people, because there's someone you're going to meet that needs just like somebody, All right, let's do one more. I'm driving back to Dallas tonight, so I got to go. Wow. What do I do if Jannah feels unattainable and life has no purpose? Well, no, that's what we've been talking about. Life already has a purpose. You just got to realize what it is. So what do you mean life doesn't have? It has one. It has an intrinsic, objective purpose. Your job is to now just tap into what we've been saying and to realize that, realize that is the purpose, right? Jannah unattainable. What do you think about that? I mean, yeah, our deeds never get us to Jannah. The Prophet one time said, no one will reach Jannah by their deeds. And everyone was like, oh, right? And then they said, even you, Ya Rasulullah? He's like, even me, except if God just showers me with his mercy. So we're not doing good deeds and then it's going to cash a check in. We're doing this to prove I want it. Please give it to me. Please, I don't deserve it, but please give it to me. And subhanAllah, I think if you think you don't deserve it, you're actually closer to it than those of us who think we do deserve it. The moment you think you deserve it, done. Yeah, I think that's it, yo. It's been a long night. It's been a long night. Barakallah feekum, yo. This was great, inshallah. Maybe we could do this more often, inshallah. Come down to Houston and kick it with you guys more, inshallah. We just need these real conversations every now and then, you know what I mean?
Beautiful.
Barakallah feekum, man.